Alrighty folks, good evening and welcome to the BRL F1 Tier 3 Hungarian Grand Prix. I'm your host for the evening, Ferrari Net 94. Welcome to the Hungaroring. This is a 2.7 mile circuit located just 12 miles outside the city center of Budapest. Very undulating, narrow, twisty circuit with really just one good overtaking point into turn 1 at the end of the only DRS straight. Loading into qualifying. As you've probably noticed, I've been away for a while from this series, so I haven't really got a good idea of what's going on, but we'll do the best in the absence of BRL Exia, who is your normal Tier 3 commentator. So, at this point, you know the drill. For those of you who've been watching, short 20-minute qualifying session followed by a 50% race tonight. That is 35 laps. We've seen some very, very wild action over the last few days here with the other series that we have coming to this circuit, starting off with F2 on Friday. We saw, well, some interesting things. First and only so far that I know of wet session was in the sprint race. It was a bit chaotic at the start, and you just saw the same three protagonists as you saw in the first race. Myself, Chandler Seda, and ERS Ham Newton get out away from the pack. Ultimately, the win there going to Chandler. As we load in here, there we go. I said lap 1 of 13. I was like, huh? Had me a little confused there. So, 18 minutes on the clock, actually, not 20. I forgot they've changed that in recent years. We'll see who goes out first as the drivers load their setups and get ready for the session to decide who is going to start on the front row and everywhere else. It's a bit like Game of Jeopardy right now, who blinks first. As PPR Butters retires from the session, so he'll be starting from the back. I hear an engine starting somewhere in the pit lane. And that is going to be, I see two cars going out on track. One of them is Marlon Kanga, the other is Canada King 8742. Let's hop on board with the Williams driver as he goes on his warm-up lap to explore this circuit. Just so you can get an idea, those of you who have not been here before, a bit what the place is like, and you can see elevation change right from the outset. Right down here is the lowest point on the circuit coming up towards turn 4. In this corner, can very easily catch a lot of drivers out. Very fast, flick it in, watch the exit curve, and then this one right here, that curve, very dangerous as well. And then you have this little chicane. Take that in usually second or third gear. And then just a short spurt up to the next section, which is very flowing. All these corners connect together. Let's see, turn 8, 9, 10, and 11 all connect one right into the other. And then you have sector 3 starting right about here. 90-degree corner, very flat, very easy to lock up on the entry. And then two back-to-back hairpins, both climbing uphill. Very, very easy to get wrong on the entry there. You can slide very wide as Canada goes back in. Not sure what he's doing there, but maybe just an installation lap to kind of feel it out a little bit. Marlon, however, is going on a flying lap. Jump back to the replay cameras here. And we will see where he ends up. He is out on the medium tire. This is a track where strategy can come into play. If you run on the soft tire, you may be able to stretch it out and go on to a set of hards and make it. I've seen that done. I've seen the more traditional start on the medium, go to the hard strategy. I've seen people do 2 stops, go from soft to 2 medium sets. And then I've seen what BRL Maverick did in Split 2 to win the race in what became the closest finish. As far as I'm aware, I don't think there were any penalties assessed at the end of that. Closest finish in BRL history of 0.024. You heard me right, folks. 24 thousandths of a second to win the Split 2 race. He took a set of mediums, a grand total of 28 laps. That is about twice as long as they're supposed to go. And get me my Piper tires from this session. Did he even go out on track? Ah, he got bit by the infamous turn 4. You see right here, ER10 is coming up on the access scene right there, and as you can see, yep, just put right into the barriers, and ER10 almost did the same thing, went out over the curb and almost got thrown over into the inside wall there. Back down to Marlon Kanga. Looks like he invalidated that first lap as SF1 Rhodes on the hard tire goes first with a 1:19.4, and Slingshot on the medium with a 1:19.8 just behind him. Aki Hess jumps up to third with a 1:28.7. He must have had some issues on that lap. He'll be looking to improve on that. That's nowhere near a competitive time. So maybe just a nice, easy installation lap just to get a time up on the board. As you can see now, he's got everything turned up. He's really going for it this lap. So must have either made a mistake on that lap or he was just doing a nice, slow installation lap to get a feel for it. As Mitch goes up to the top with a 1:18.5 on the hard tire, and Wrathful goes fourth on the hard. As TES Science goes second with a 1:19.274. It's an all Red Bull 1-2-3 right now with a Toro Rosso splitting the difference as he is parked at the end of the pit lane, and I'm not sure what's going on here because you are not allowed to stop on track at any point during the session for any reason. And now Marlon Kanga on the medium tire goes to the top of the 1:17.7. He is the top medium runner at this point in time and fastest overall. Now I will mention there. Oh, as Marlon goes off the circuit there is one other. What do we got here? Sector 1. I don't see who it is. Sector 2. Maybe just. I think it's TES Signs letting his teammate go. Speaking of his teammate, let's go hop on board with Like Me or Not in the second of the Toro Rosso set of time here. Car 21. Coming through the second sector. We have a yellow flag in sector 3. It looks like Wrathful he just pulled off to the side of the circuit to let everybody by. Nothing going on there. Still should not be coming to a stop at any point on the circuit. As Toft of White Meat goes second with a 1:18.1 on the hard tire. I have seen people start on the hard tire, run around in the back towards the start of the race, and still end up at the front. Tizonic almost actually won that split 2 race. He would have won it if not for a spin he had later on in the race. And he started pretty much stone last on the hard tire. Mitch still third on the hard. Like Me or Not jumps up to fourth ahead of his teammate. And SF1 Rhodes now jumps up to fourth. So it's Renault McLaren, Red Bull, Toro Rosso, Williams, Mercedes, Racing Point, Ferrari, Get Me My Pipe, who still has not set a lap. Everybody from 11th on down has not set a lap, including MRC Loki, who we're seeing here in the Alfa Romeo. And a couple of drivers still in the pits that have not set a lap. One of them coming out right there is Rock Lobster. Alright, so we're going to set that to best so that way you can see what tire they are currently slated to start on with their best lap. Nobody really gone for the soft tire yet, but we'll see if that changes towards the end of the session. This place has a tendency to pick up a lot towards the end. Ooh, TES Signs disqualified from the session for blocking the pit lane. What was that all about? What was that all about? I don't think I've ever seen anybody get disqualified from an actual league race session for blocking the pit lane. That's, have to find out what happened later on that. Never seen that happen before. As we have a yellow flag in Sector 3, don't really see anybody over there. as MRC Loki has now put it up to 4th place for the Alfa Romeo team on the hard tire. So a lot of people opting for that hard tire banker lap first thing in the session. Not a bad choice because it can work out, as we have seen, very, very much to your advantage, especially once everybody else starts fighting amongst themselves towards the front. If they start making mistakes and you're a little bit farther behind them, they're losing time and you're not. Let's see who we got on a hot lap right now. We got Run the Jewels on a hot lap right now in the Renault. He is on the hard tire, and also Rock Lobster on the hard tire as well. These two are the only two people, I believe, aside from Henchman, who has also not set a lap. So we got 3 drivers that have not set a lap that are still in the session, 3 that have been either disqualified or retired from the session before even setting a lap, so they'll be starting right out the back. And Rock Lobster is going to be the first to change that status, it looks like, because he is coming through Sector 3. Let's see what kind of a lap time the Mercedes driver can do. Out of the final corner, he comes around. Looking at the start-finish line, it is going to be a 1:20.15. That's going to put him up to P12. Just a couple of spots behind his teammate Slingshot, who is going out for another run on the medium. Next car to come across the line is going to be Run the Jewels. Let's see what the Renault driver can do. He actually aborts the lap and goes into the pits. So not really sure what's going on, but Jules currently 16th out of 18 cars. Actually 15th out of 18 cars, because as long as he sets a lap, he'll get ahead of the Haas of Get Me My Pipe, who has retired from the session. Henchman on a flyer right now. Let's see what he can do. He's coming through Sector 2 in the Haas. His teammate's already out of the session, so he'll definitely be the first of the 2 Haas's and get preferential pit stops if they are running the same strategy. Seen a lot of people running that Abu Dhabi helmet. Kind of got mixed feelings about it myself. It's a little bit of a weird looking helmet. But it doesn't look too out of place on the Haas, if you ask me. It's a bit of a weird car, as Henchman goes up to 5th with a 1:18.8 on the medium. So Marlon Kanga, the first of the medium runners. Crofted Whitemeat and Mitch and Loki behind him, all on the hards, all within a second of each other. And then you have Henchman, Sexy 9 on the medium tires, and the next 3 cars, Rhodes, Like Me or Not, and Wrathful, all on the hards as well. So a mixed bag of what tire people are currently running on. We still got 6.5 minutes in the session, so that could change a whole lot. Might see some people towards the end of the session bolt on the soft tire and really just go for it, as Run the Jewels is now leaving the pit lane again. And TES Science has left the session. That's not sure if he's got some disconnections going on there or what, but the Toro Rosso driver was up towards the front of the field and then got disqualified for blocking the pit lane, of all things, as ER10 now jumps up to 2nd place in the Ferrari with a 1:18.05 on the medium tires. He actually put 2 laps on those tires, so maybe just did a little bit of a extra warm-up before he really went out there. And Henchman coming back into the pits after his first run. All right, Run the Jewels in the banana car. The bruised banana car, I should say, because black and yellow, black and yellow. I tell you, folks, this stuff's a lot more entertaining to do when you got somebody in here with you. So I'm going to try to make this as fun and entertaining as possible. Mostly so I don't drive myself absolutely nuts while doing this. At least till the racing starts. Once the racing starts, I've got something to pay attention to do, as Fathercorn has not joined the session. We got a yellow flag in Sector 1 and Sector 2. Not sure what that was all about. Ooh, as Jules gets very squirrely out of turn 1 there. He's going to abort that lap and probably go for another one here, or is he going to go back into the pits and just bolt on the softs and just hammer out a fast lap like nobody's business? Not a whole lot of action on the track right now. The only 3 cars on the track are Canada King. 4 cars on the track, I should say, are Jules, Canada King, and white meat. And I don't see who the other one is. Ah, it was ER10 and he went into pits, that's why. That's why. So not a whole lot going on right now. Canada King, Slingshot retires from the session from 12th place in the pits because he's had enough of qualifying there. Canada King now on a flyer in the Williams. Looking very late into turn 1. Rolling it around, not too heavy on the power or else it gets squirrely. We're just going to ride on board because we don't really have anything else to do here because there's not anybody else on a lap. And Run the Jewels has now finally set a lap time of a 1:24.4. He'll probably take another lap because he got very squirrely out of turn 1 that last time, as the Signs has now rejoined the session with 3.5 minutes left. Hockey Hess in the second of the Ferraris has not actually set a better lap time than that 1:28.7 that he set earlier in the session. That's well off the pace by over 10 seconds, so I'm not sure what he's waiting on. He is going out again for another lap, and it looks like he's got pretty clear circuit, as looks like Rock Lobster has pulled off to the side of the circuit. Again, guys, we don't really condone the whole parking on the side of the circuit thing. Canada King has now completed his lap, did not improve. Let's see what Run the Jewels can do here. He is finally coming around to complete this second lap. Jumps up to 8th place as Toft of White Meat in the McLaren jumps to the top of the board, the 1:17.5. The track definitely picking up a little bit of pace, either that or everybody else is just turning up the wick. Rathel jumps up to 4th place in the Racing Point with a 1:18.4 on the mediums, and then promptly pulls off way to the outside of the circuit. Not really sure what's with this habit these guys have of just pulling off to the far edge of the circuit and just coming to a dead stop. I'm not really sure what that's all about. I know they're trying to get out of the way, but there's ways you can do that without throwing up the yellow flag every 5 seconds. It's very distracting as a commentator to see that yellow flag prompt pop up when there's not actually something going on. See, we're up to 8 viewers here. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. We have exactly 1 minute left, and I don't think... Oh, we do have a couple of guys out there on the soft. Henchman and Sexy 9 in the Williams are both out on the soft tire. Henchman to the top of the board on the softs with a 1:17.5. That sticks. He's going to be in very, very hot water towards the start of the race once those tires start to go off. As Toft of White Meat has retired from the session. So has Sexy 9 from... Looks like he may have crashed in Sector 2 or he just pulled off. As Rock Lobster on the softs in the Mercedes goes to 6th place with a 1:17.8. These guys are actually relatively close at the top. The top 7 cars are covered by just over half a second. As Rathel retires from the session in 9th place. So a lot of these guys retiring pretty far down as qualifying draws to a close. So if things stay as they are, there are several people out there on a hot lap still. If things stay as they are, Henchman is going to be your pole sitter on the soft tire. One of only 2 drivers electing to start on the soft tire, it looks like. Aki Hess still out there on the medium. Can he improve? He has improved from the 128 to a 118. He's going to go on into the pits, so I think that is going to draw qualifying to a close, because I don't see anybody else really out there on a flyer. No. So I think that BRL Henchman in the Haas is going to be your pole sitter, with Tough to White Meat starting alongside him in second. Second row of Mitch and Like Me or Not, Red Bull and Toro Rosso Hondas respectively. Row 3, Marlon Conga and Rock Lobster, the second of your soft runners. MRC Loki jumped up to 7th there at the end to take his spot on the 4th row, along with ER10 Motorsport in the first of the Ferraris, SF1 Rhodes and Hockey Hess on row 5. From that point back, they get free choice of tires on the start, starting with Wrathful, then Sexy 9, Run the Jewels, Canada King, Slingshot, and I did not get to finish reading that for it disappeared off screen. So once again, Haas driver, the Henchman 21, ends up on pole position with a 117.517. We're going to take a short little intermission here for the start of the race, and then we'll be back in just a moment. All right, folks, and welcome back to the Hungary ring here. Looking a little overcast for the race today. Could possibly see some rain, maybe. We'll see as the race develops what happens there, but you never know. Could be dry, could be wet. Never know what's going to happen because we can't see the weather. That's unfortunately something we never see as a weather forecast. As we're just waiting for everybody to get loaded into the race session here. And here we go. And I do have the chat up next to me, so if you guys do say anything in the chat, I will see it. So before we start the race on the formation lap, be sure to put in your prediction for who is going to win this race and who you think might end up as driver of the day. Personally, I think that... Actually, let me pull all the stuff back up. I hate how it does that. Personally, I think that we are going to see Tough to White Meat have a pretty easy time once Henchman pits for his first of possibly 2 stops, maybe 1. I don't know what he's going to do on strategy. But most of these other guys look like they're going for the conventional 1-stop strategy. Maybe 1 or 2 of them going for a 2-stop, or even just a very long 1-stop to a hard tire from the soft. And everybody here at the Breakout Racing League would like to thank you for tuning in, taking the time out of your day to watch these guys as they come around the final corner to form up for the start. wish they would make the leaderboard be the last thing up instead of that. Anyway, all the drivers are now formed up on the grid. 18 starters here tonight at the Hungaroring. Now we're just waiting on the lights. And as the lights come on, we're away in Hungary for BRL Tier 3. The field fans out. Oh, we got a little bit of argy-bargy going. Somebody lost some wing back there. One of the Mercedes moving very slowly, and we've got some carnage at the back. Already a VSC. TES Signs looks like he might have run into the back of Rock Lobster, who just did not go off the start there. And this is now very awkward because everybody's all over each other, and this is going to probably create some chaos here. Yeah, Rock Lobster just did not go anywhere, and TES Signs already with damage. That has just got to be gutting for the Toro Rosso driver. Got an actually pretty decent start and just had nowhere to go when the Mercedes just didn't go anywhere off the start. The henchman leads currently under VSC, and as you can see, as we just sit here and watch, everybody's still clustered up as we're back green. Very unusual start to a very unusual race. This place has a very, very big habit of creating unusual scenarios. This was the track where Fernando Alonso took his first win back in 2003. I believe Damon Hill also did the same thing in, I think it was 1993. He took his first win here for Williams. As the henchman comes around to lead the first lap at a 1:31.56, that will definitely get improved this time around, as White Meat is only 6/10 behind in the McLaren. Yeah, this place has a very, very big habit of creating first-time winners out of people. Damon Hill, Fernando Alonso, and Jenson Button, to name a few. And myself, actually. Way back in the day, but that's another story. It's a very chaotic racetrack sometimes, especially when the weather hits. It doesn't have a whole lot of grip to begin with, and you add rain into the equation, and that just gets even lower. So we're seeing a breakaway of 3 cars up at the front in the Henchman 21, Top to White Meat, and Mitch 712. These 3 have separated themselves by about a second from Like Me or Not and Marlon Conga, who are in 4th and 5th. SF1 Roads currently 6th, just behind Marlon Conga, actually. So both the Red Bulls doing very well tonight off the start here. And Get Me My Pipe, TES Science, and Rock Lobster all look like they have gone through the pit lane, I think. They have. So very unfortunate start to their nights. They'll all be hoping for a safety car to get caught back up at some point and hope to not be the safety car. Ooh, as we see some action here, as Hockey Hess and Wrath will start mixing it up a little bit. As Mitch, now Like Me or Not, sets the fast lap, and now SF1 Road sets the fast lap at a 1:21.589. So already 3 medium runners into the 121s and Top to White, actually 4 medium runners into the 121s, as White Meat has now overtaken Henchman. What did we miss there? We're going to focus up here on the front and just kind of keep an eye on this as Hockey Hess retires in the pit lane from the session. Hopefully that doesn't bring out anything here. And we had a yellow flag in Sector 2 for a split second there. Not sure what that was all about. Don't see anybody who is out of place as Marlon Conger runs off the circuit. Or actually, that was Henchman running off the circuit a little bit, and Mitch is all over him in the Red Bull. Might see a look down here to turn 12. Not this time. He makes a little bit of an appearance to the right side, but thinks better of it. Now he's going to get him around the outside. Got to think Henchman maybe just said, yeah, not worth fighting that fight right now. So now the Red Bull has been unleashed into second place as White Meat resets fast lap to 1:21.19. And DRS has been enabled for that lap. So we're seeing the rear wing slots open Hopefully that'll make overtaking a little bit easier as we go on. As we're going to pop down the field here, as Sexy 9 is caught up to Like Me or Not for 6th place. We'll see if he can do anything within the next lap. Got several gaggles of cars and then a few that are more spread out. As Tough for White Meat has now pulled out a 2.3, second lead on Mitch 712 in the Red Bull, who gets a little squirrely outside of the chicane there. We got another yellow sector 2, and that is Run the Jewels, who has spun at turn 4, and he's got some wing damage to boot, so add insult to injury there, folks. The Renault driver not having a good start to his night here. As we got a battle for, looks like 3rd here between Henchman and Marlon Conga. I think Marlon's going to make pretty short work of him here. Up the inside, onto the grass. Both of them run wide, and that might give Rhodes an opportunity here down the front straightaway. As Marlon moves over just a little bit, Rhodes moves back in behind him. And I think they might both get Henchman down into turn 2. Maybe not. Nope. Rhodes pulls back in line behind the Haas. He has got to be starting to struggle with grip on those soft tires at this point. I'd say he's done well up to this point to not lose that many spots. As Run the Jewels now picks up a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, in addition to the fact he's going to have to change the wing, which you see right there. And he's having to make an early pit stop. I mean, this is getting worse and worse for the Renault driver. As you see Slingshot run a little bit wide right there in front of Loki. And now we're going to see if Rhodes can make anything out of the Haas driver this time around. He is over a second behind the Renault of Marlon Conga in front of him. We'll see if coming down the front straightaway if the Renault, or if the Red Bull can do anything with the Haas here. Henchman running a little bit deep. I love that camera angle. You can see so much from that. And Henchman dives into the pits here. So an early pit stop for the Haas driver. Usually to get the mediums to go to the end, you want to go to about lap 8 or 10. So he might be going for a 2-stop here in the Haas. We'll see how that works out for him. Did not work out for a whole lot of guys in split 2. But there were plenty of mistakes made by those on the 2-stop that could have made that work out very differently. So it's important to make sure when you do a 2-stop here that you keep everything nice and clean and don't make a ton of mistakes. Don't spin the car. Don't importantly get bottled up behind somebody for too long, because theoretically, if you're starting that far in front of them and you make a stop and you're behind them, number one, if you're on a different strategy, they should just let you go. That'd be the polite and gentlemanly thing to do, but we all know that doesn't happen a whole lot nowadays. But don't get yourself in trouble trying to pass those guys, but don't take forever to do it either. So that's kind of the danger of the 2-stop, as we see the top 3 now pretty well spread out. White Meat out to about a 3-second gap in the McLaren over Mitch in the Red Bull, and then Marlon a further 2.5 seconds back, and Rhodes also about 1.6 back of Marlon. So these top 5 guys are pretty evenly spaced, and then you got a little bit bigger gap back to 69 in the Williams, who looks like he is coming into the pits for his first stop now, as Tough to White Meat resets fast lap at a 120.9. Looking around, and looks like the closest battle on track is going to be the battle that just went right by, as we see Loki making a move on Slingshot into turn 1. That is the usual overtaking zone, as it gets a little squirrely on the exit there. Very, very hard place to get traction. Now he goes the inside of turn 2. A little bit of contact. No harm, no foul there. It's not on simulation damage, so nobody's going to get a puncture from that. But a little bit of rough and tumble there, but no change of position. Biggest mover of the race right now in the right direction is going to be Slingshot. He's up 9 spots. Biggest mover in the wrong direction is going to be Rock Lobster down 11th. I mean, he started in 6th place, and he has just gone from having a decent night to having a terrible night right now. He is way off the lead. And Henchman, after his pit stop, down 9 spots, but that'll change as he's actually gaining on ER10 Motorsport right now. Should have DRS on him this lap. As Marlon Conga now in 3rd place sets fastest lap at 1:20.951. So just a little bit quicker than White Meat managed the lap before, and about a half second quicker than Mitch's best lap. As we see, that is Run the Jewels again. Turn 4 has caught him out, and he has now knocked both sides of the wing off there. So going from bad to worse for the Renault driver. He is down in 17th now. He is just having an absolutely horrible night right now. Got a feel for the guy. It's just kind of gone from bad to worse to terrible. Well, that'll improve Rock Lobster's situation by 1 position. Small consolation to the Mercedes driver as we see PPR Butters missing the right front end plate there. Let's just go down the field and do a damage check. Obviously none on the leader's car. Tough to White Meat as he goes by Run the Jewels, who is making his way back to the pit lane. Lapped cars are ghosted to the leaders. Mitch also looking pretty good in that Red Bull. No damage to really speak of or see. Everything looks nice and clean. Same thing with Marlon Conga and SF1 Rhodes. Both the Red Bulls doing fantastically as Run the Jewels picks up another 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and he retires from the session. Kind of got to just feel that that was about as good a result as he was going to get from that at that point. Just can't get out of his own way almost at that point. But how about these Red Bull cars? They are running in 2nd and 4th, and both pretty darn close to the lead of this race. Mitch only 4 seconds down on the leader, and then Jules only about 7.5, so he's pretty close to the front. He's gained 5 places since the start, so doing exceptionally well. Continue on with the damage check down the field as you see Rhodes got a little bit squirrely there. Just behind him is Leichner, not in the first of the Red Bulls. Actually, he's still in the race, so the first of the Red Bulls. Loki in 6th place, got a little bit of a gap, about 12 seconds, nothing too huge there. Everything looking clean there as we see Slingshot and Wrathful still going at it back here in the 2 Mercedes-powered cars, trying to chase down that Ferrari-powered Alfa Romeo. Riding along with the Mercedes through Sector 2. Looks like he's all clean on the wings. And Get Me My Pipe gets a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings, so he's extending the track in a couple of places, kind of just making it up as he goes along. And the pink Racing Point of Wrathful looking clean as a whistle. He was quite a ways down the order to start with at one point. So he's made a nice recovery to get back to 8th and into the points. Henchman, after his first stop, still looking great. He's gotten around ER10 and Sexy9, who has also made a stop behind Henchman. These two have got a lot of work to do to get back to the front. They are both on the hard tire, I believe. Nope, Henchman's actually on the medium, so he should be 2-stopping. Sexy9 might be going for the 1-stop, the long 1-stop here. We'll see how that works out for the Williams driver. ER10 getting really sideways into the first corner under braking there. Having an okay night. He's just not. Things are just not going well for him right now. Down there in 11th. No damage to speak of, but the car obviously not handling how he wants it to. The second of the Alphas, PPR Butters, still missing that right front end plate, rolling around on the hard tires. So if he's planning on taking that all the way to his pit stop, he's got a long way to go. TES Science, he's pitted for a new wing. He's making his way back up to the field. He was dead stone last after the first lap, just about. So he's making a nice recovery here. Get Me My Pipe missing the left front end plate off the Haas. Canada King in the Williams, all clean there. And Rock Lobster, the last of our runners in 16th, looking clean as well. Although after that absolutely nightmare start, I'm not sure if the car went into anti-stall or what happened there, but it did not go off the line. Meanwhile, back up front, Tough to White Meat continues to lead in the McLaren. He's out to a 4-second lead. That hasn't changed much since we last saw him. Mitch has got Marlon Conga growing ever larger in his rearview mirrors, though. The Red Bull driver may be getting a little bit concerned about that bright yellow and black Renault, who is just creeping up on him. He's actually now within a second as they come through the chicane in Sector 2. That is the closest battle on the track, except for TES Science and PPR Butters, who they now swap positions. Where are they at? That's down at turn 1 as PPR Butters is up the inside, actually. He tried to defend that, and that did not work out in his favor at all. Sometimes you just got to know when to pick the battles. If you got a damaged car and somebody goes around the outside of you, it might just be best to hit the brakes and let him have it. As now he is under attack from Get Me My Pipe, who thinks better of making a move up to turn 4, but he is all over the back of PPR Butters. They're actually both damaged cars, so this is actually kind of a fair fight here. One stronger in one direction, one stronger in the other. So as Marlon Kaga now goes for a move on Mitch into turn 1, he's going to make that stick. Can Mitch pull the crossover off? Nope, and he's going to run wide onto the exit runoff as they head down towards turn 2. So Marlon Kaga moves up to second in the Renault. Their fortunes as a team have not gone all that great tonight, but Marlon out there flying the flag for the French manufacturer. Man, Mitch is just having a hard time keeping that Red Bull on the road right now. So the top 8 have not stopped. Everybody from 9th on down, except for PPR Butters, has stopped at least once. We should see these guys on the medium tire in here at about lap 15 to 20. Somewhere in there. They are all on the they are all on the tire they started the race on. They are starting to get pretty long in the tooth at this point. Now we see Mitch with the DRS on Marlon. Not close enough to make a move down into turn 2. As we got a yellow flag in Sector 2. That looks like Canada King. Yep, he has spun at turn 5. Does the Williams have any damage to the front wing? I think he does. Maybe just a little bit. No, he's actually not got any damage at all. So fortunate there as he spins again. Keeps it going, loops it around, and back on he goes. But Canada King not having a good time of things right there. It's 2 spins and 2 corners. And now we see Mitch still trying to chase Marlon back down. He's like, nah, hey, that was my second place. Give me that back. Not letting the Renault driver get too far away from him. Meanwhile, out front, you see right there, you see that orange car at the back of those 3. That is your race leader. Off the white meat, he is having a flawless race so far tonight. I thought he might once Henchman pitted. Actually, he got around him before Henchman ever even hit the pit lane. So the McLaren driver having a very good night tonight. No problems up to this point, touch wood. Don't want to give him the old commentator's curse. As Mitch is just 3/10 behind, but he's just not quite close enough to do anything with Marlon. This is just allowing Rhodes to get ever closer, I think. These two fighting over second place. So far, everybody really spread out. Nothing really to speak of going on aside from those two. Check in on Henchman here. He's only he's actually only 0.8 seconds behind Slingshot for 8th place. Remember, Henchman was the first of the guys to stop because he started on those soft tires, so he's on 5-lap fresher tires than all the guys in front of him. If he can get in front of Slingshot before he even gets to the pit stop rotation, then I think he'll be in for a pretty good night here because he can probably get him this lap. So we're going to stay on board. Actually, we're going to check back with Mitch first. See what he can do. He's only a half second behind Marlon as they come onto the front straightaway. DRS open. Not really gaining on him, so is Marlon running a little bit less downforce than the Red Bull. really didn't gain much of anything on the straightaway, and now Rhodes is just getting ever closer to that top 3 that are right in front of him. Check back with Henchman as they come onto the front straightaway. He is right on the back of Slingshot. Fresher tires, DRS. Got it cranked up and overtake. Is he going to go for a move down to turn 1 here? I think he is. Yep, he's going to be late on the brakes. As Get Me My Piper tires from the session. Turn 4 has caught him out. Going to ride along with Canada King here. And virtual safety car has been deployed. You can see that right there. The Haas has just absolutely planted it in the wall at turn 4. And we're going to ride on board with Loki here to get another look at where that Haas ended up. You can see it was right there at the edge of the barriers. So Henchman getting ahead of Slingshot before the VSC. Very good thing for him because he did not want to spend another lap trapped behind the Mercedes of Slingshot. So as they remove the Haas from the edge of the barrier and put him behind the wall, we're going to get ready to go back racing here any moment now. Very important to keep the deltas positive as we go through this. And we are back to green, DRS enabled, and a couple of guys making pit stops. Looks like everybody except Rhodes making their pit stop. His teammate went in, so he had to stay out for another lap, or else they were going to double stack. Off the white meat onto the hard tire. Marlon and Mitch both also onto the hard tire. As Loki comes around, he should get ahead of them. Loki having the sound glitch here where it pegs the RPMs at 13.6. And is he going to get ahead of them? No, not quite. He's going to come right up behind them, though, as they exit the pit lane. So those two getting in front of Mitch or Loki, very important there. As it looks like Marlon, or Tough the White Meat actually has, Like Me or Not, just a couple of seconds in front of him, and it looks like possibly Canada King as well. He'll be ghosted out for the leader of the race, or former leader of the race, I should say. That Toro Rosso ahead will not be, so that'll have to be an overtake done on track unless Like Me or Not hits in the next couple of laps, which he's been on those medium tires for about 15 laps, so they're pretty long in the tooth. Hopping up here with our current race leader, SF1 Rhodes. Let's see what he does as he comes up to lap Lobster, who is just having an absolutely horrible night. Mercedes sliding very wide there. And are we going to see, yes, we are going to see the Red Bull coming into the pits. We're going to hop back here with Mitch, and we're going to see exactly where these two come across the line compared to Mitch's teammate who's in the pits. Is that extra lap going to give him an advantage? Here Mitch stabbing up the throttle a little bit. Not quite getting it planted like he wants, as they are going to get by Rhodes, who is still in the pit lane. Like Me or Not also in the pit lane, serving a 5-second time penalty, it looks like, before the stop, so that's going to cost him a little bit. That elevates Henchman up to 6th place. Effectively 4th once Wrathful pits, and 4th in the racing point. And just behind him is SF1 Rhodes. And oh, Marlon Conga's out of the race. He has found the barriers at turn 4. Very unfortunate. Very unfortunate for Williams. And that is going to produce a safety car, folks. We have a full course caution here at the Hungaroring. And that will change everything. We got a bunch of guys that just pitted, several guys that just didn't. And now what happens, folks? You tell me. Because your guess is probably about as good as mine. Do any of these front guys come in and take on another set of mediums if they have them? SF1 Rhodes does not. PPR Butters, 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. They've actually made it very, very stringent under safety car as far as the corner cutting. You can get an immediate penalty even if you don't have any warnings. As TES Science kind of shoots himself in the foot here and gives himself a penalty for speeding under safety car, as he's now kind of just putting along in Sector 3. And we're going to see several guys come into the pits. Amazingly, Wrathful didn't come into the pits there. I'm a little bit shocked about that. And Canada King gets disqualified from the session for ignoring yellow flags. So, seeing a couple of disqualifications tonight, one in qualifying, one in the race, both for very unusual things. We ride along with Canada King here. He will not be in control of that car, I don't think. Well. Huh. Odd. Popped up at the bottom of the screen. I thought that he was disqualified from the session, but he is very much still there. Anyway, back to the front. We have got about half the field lined up behind the safety car, just waiting to, really bunch everybody back up. This thing moves very slowly around here. It's just a crawl. It's an absolute crawl around this place. So that changes things up. Wrathful still has not come into the pits, so I'm kind of wondering what the Racing Point driver is doing here. Is he waiting until the safety car goes back in to make his pit stop? Or is he trying to go a little bit longer even? Either way, very odd strategy from the Racing Point driver at this stage. Especially considering that he had a perfectly good opportunity to dive into the pits when everybody wasn't bunched up and he wasn't going to lose a ton of spots, as Sexy 9 puts on the intermediate. He accidentally selected the intermediate by mistake last lap and had to come back in. That's very peculiar. As he will now have to push to get back up to the pack before the restart and salvage anything out of this, as TES Science is actually on the soft tire. What is the Toro Rosso driver thinking here? Is he thinking, hey, I'll have some of this, I'll get myself through the pack, and then pit for another set of mediums? Or I'm a bit curious as to what he's doing there, because we got 16 laps to go, just under half the race, and the soft tire will definitely not make that. At least not with any sort of pace. So differing strategies tonight here at the Hungarian, folks. Very curious things going on. What's not curious, though, is we are going to spend another lap under the safety car, it looks like, as the last 3 or 4 cars get caught up. And you see looks like ER10 Motorsports there in 13th, that he's up there amongst the top 3 or 4 cars, a lap down. He should be able to get his lap back, or maybe not, because he is not the first car in line. The only car behind him is Rock Lobster, who is right down the back of the order in 14th. He's the last car running. So these two have not had a very good night, as Canada King and Butters start to catch up to the back of the field, as does Sexy 9 on his fresh set of medium tires now that he's actually back on a dry tire. So as the field continues to circulate under the safety car here, we're going to take a short little intermission before the restart. We'll be back in just a moment. All right, folks, here we are back for the restart at the Hungary. Off the white meat, still your leader, obviously, under the safety car. Going to bring him down around the last couple of corners as the safety car returns to the pit lane. Everybody bunched up behind him, and there he goes, the McLaren taking off a little bit towards the end of the lap here, getting a nice little gap on the Red Bull behind him. As Wrathful still has not come into the pits in the Racing Point. It's still a very curious strategy from the Pink Panther out there. Gotta wonder what's going through his mind right now. As MRC Logie picks up a spot on Like Me or Not off the restart. Very good driving from him in the Alfa Romeo. And that'll effectively become 4th place once Wrathful pits here. BRL Henchman back there in 7th. He came in, looks like he got a fresh set of mediums, so he should be all set to go to the end of the race. He made his 2nd stop under the safety car. Check in on our biggest mover of the race here. And we got a virtual safety car again. Looks like Canada King has hit the barrier, and yep, there goes the wheel. Folks, we got a wheel loose. Got a few nuts loose too up in the booth. Oh wait, there's just me. But anyway, Canada's night goes from bad to worse, ends up in the barrier at turn 11. And that is just gonna really not feel good on his part, as Mitch has now taken the lead. Where did that happen? What on earth happened there? Looks like, nope, not quite. Thought we were back to racing there. Mitch, drive-through penalty for the race leader for speeding under the virtual safety car, as Wrathful now taking a look for 2nd. Still has not made his stop. He's still on the tires that he started the race on. We got guys out here who have made no stops, 1 stop, 2 stops, and 3 stops. And they're all running on top of each other, folks. This is getting wild. Like I said, this place produces some crazy action. As Mitch now gets that's insult to injury right there. 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. We have a yellow flag through sector 2. Looks like PPR Butters may have spun the car. He did. He spun the car at the chicane. So not really losing him much as far as positions goes, because the next 2 cars are over a lap behind the leaders. He is still on the lead lap. And there you see just about the entire field from 10th all the way to the front, as DRS is now enabled on this 2nd lap. It doesn't feel like 2 laps already because we were in a virtual safety car for half the time. But, wow. That, as Mitch's teammate, SFM Rhodes, gets moved on Wrathful to pick up 3rd place now. And that has just really got to hurt for Mitch. He needs to really put the hammer down, try and pick up as much time as possible, but he's going to end up he's going to end up at the tail end of the top 10 right now, just because of how bunched up everybody is. He's going to lose all those spots with only 12 laps remaining when he comes into the pits. So all his hard work all night undone by a pretty rudimentary mistake, really, speeding under the virtual safety car. I've heard some things that you can actually do it and get away with it, but is that really something you want to chance? Is that something you want to, is that fire that you want to play with? Speeding under the virtual safety car and netting yourself a drive-through penalty. Because that is, there he goes into the pits. That is at least 10 seconds, if not 15 seconds, that he's going to lose here. As Tough to White Meat sets the fastest lap of the race. So that McLaren is really moving right now on those hard tires. And that's just going to make this hurt even worse, as you see Mitch crawl down the pit lane. Right down as TES Science also comes into the pits for some reason. Also getting a drive-through, I think. So Mitch down to 9th, Sainz down to 10th. And yep, 14.4. He was half a second in the lead when he pitted, so 15 seconds is what that cost him. And that is just going to hurt, because now he's got all the work to do. As top to Whitemeat, what has happened here? SF1 Rhodes now has the lead. Did Whitemeat have a half spin? It's like Whitemeat being in first are just jinxed. It just doesn't want to stay. The car just doesn't want to stay in first anymore. As Wrathful still trundling around on those medium tires. Is he going to try and stretch this out and go to the softs at the end? I think he might. I'm not really sure why at this point. I would have come in and put on at least a hard tire. Very unusual strategy from the Racing Point driver. Not really sure what dividends this is going to pay for him, but you can see he's got an angry pack right behind him. Coming down the front straightaway as Loki takes over third very assertively through turn 1. You can hear the crowd clapping on that one. Very textbook overtake. As now Like Me or Not looks to be sizing the Racing Point driver for an overtake whether he likes it or not. And just behind him you see our only real true two-stopper from the outset. Henchman in the lone surviving Haas just behind those two, and Sexy 9 who has made 3 stops just behind him. So strategy is just all over the place, folks. As soon as those VSEs and Saints cars came out, strategy just went out the window. It really is. It's become a question of track position and tires at this point, as these two have not gotten away from each other. Rhodes leading the race with Tough to Whitemeat still in second. As Whitemeat runs very deep into turn 13, and now Henchman picks up a 3-second time penalty as he got by both Sexy 9 and Like Me or Not. And now he's gotten by Wrathful, who looks to be heading for the pit lane, and he is heading for the pit lane. He's got some damage. So was there some contact we missed there? Because a lot of positions changed hands very quickly there. As Sexy 9 now sizes up a move on the Haas driver into turn 1. Oh, there's contact, and he's around. Right in the middle of the racetrack, too. It is all kicking off right here, and it looks like Like Me or Not does, in fact, have some damage to the left front end plate there on that Toro Rosso. So that'll be hampering his downforce and making the car quite a bit slower. Now, question is, does Henchman have any damage from that? He was on the outside of that move. Nothing he could do about that. Not his fault in any way, shape, or form. As Mitch has now made his way back up to 7th, I think the best he can hope for in this situation is 4th, because Loki has just absolutely taken off from these guys with all the argy-bargy going on behind him. He has just made himself scarce. Tough to Whitemeat still just a half second behind Rhodes for the lead in his McLaren. And Mitch has actually made up about 3 seconds on the leader since, or 2.5 seconds anyway, at least on the leader, since his time penalty, or since his drive-through penalty, rather. So, if he keeps up that pace, he may still have a shot at this, but he needs to get on with it. As you see Rhodes go very defensive down the front straightaway, taking that inside away as Whitemeat goes around the outside. I don't think the long way is going to work here, buddy. But I could be wrong as he gets on the power, and he's going to get the move done, it looks like, into turn 2. He's got the inside. He's going to go very deep here, and move done. Cleared him. Whitemeat back to the point. Rhodes down to 2nd now, and Loki kind of having his own race here in 3rd. Very, very nice place to be. Not around anybody doing anything crazy. And you see Henchman there in the background, kind of the same thing. Got himself nice and away from everybody, as now Mitch has moved to 5th place as TS Sainz sets the fastest lap of the race on some soft tires from 10th place. Looking around trying to find some action for you guys, and there's really not a whole lot of close action going on here as you see Rhodes run a little bit deep through turn 13 up towards 14. Still within DRS range of Whitemeat, but he's just not close enough to make a move right now. I think the closest thing we're going to see to a move is going to be out of this guy right here. But even he's just a little over a second behind Sexy 9, and Slingshot's about 8/10 behind him. So nobody really within DRS range except for the front two. But they're not close enough for a move to happen. Unless somebody just absolutely sends it. Oh, you see Whitemeat get a little kick of oversteer out of that second corner there. Is that a sign that his tires are maybe not quite holding up like they should? As Wrathful now sets the fastest lap. He did, in fact, go to the soft tire. He's in 9th place. He's 16 seconds back of Slingshot, the next car ahead of him. So the question is, can the Racing Point reel in 16 seconds in 7.5 laps? I don't think so. So I think he's kind of consigned himself to a 9th place finish at this point. Really the only positions that look like they might change place. Obviously the lead. I think Mitch is going to catch Henchman. Maybe he can take a run at Loki. He's only 4 seconds behind Loki if he can get around Henchman. But I don't really see it happening, to be honest. You have to be almost a second lap quicker to make that happen. Slingshot behind the damaged car of Like Me or Not may have a chance here. Yeah, Slingshot, or Like Me or Not, actually now dives into the pits for some repairs and maybe to go steal that fast lap. Honestly, if I was him, I would have just carried on for the next 5 or 6 laps and dealt with it, because he's really not going to gain anything by doing this. Fast lap's only worth 1 point, so he's sitting at a +2 advantage to the car behind him. As Wrathful just streaked by on the front straightaway there, already losing that spot. He was about 14 seconds ahead of him. So that long pit stop, and he's going to possibly lose a spot. There he goes to his teammate, TES Sainz. So maybe soldiering on would have been the better option at this point with only 6 laps left in the race, but I'm not in the car for this. I just drive F2 cars. That's what I do. As Mitch now only 1.7 seconds behind Henchman. Can he do anything with the Haas this late in the race? That is the question. Can he make amends for that rather embarrassing drive-thru he netted himself? And back at the point while we got a second. Rhodes is now just over a second behind Whitemeat, so no more DRS for the Red Bull after this lap if he can't get that gap back down. He was just under a second at the detection point, and it went up quite a ways as they came up onto the front straightaway. He was almost 1.3 seconds down at one point, but he had DRS that lap, so he must have been within it. Also, some of you may notice the speedometer at the bottom reading in kilometers per hour instead of miles per hour. I do, in fact, use kilometers per hour. A little bit strange to some of you, I know, but it's just personal preference. Looking around, Rhodes has got that gap back down just a second, but he needs to do a little bit more than that to pull that McLaren back in at the point. Mitch only closed down about 4/10 that lap on Henchman. We got a couple of battles going on across the track, but that's about it. PPR Butters is now right up the back of Like Me or Not for that final point. So can Butters pull off an upset and net himself a point here on a night which really has not gone his way? As Mitch is now right up the back of Henchman. PPR Butters nets himself time penalties. That one be helping his case. Mitch makes a move on Henchman for 4th place. And that is job done. He's now got about a 4.5 second gap to make up on Loki. He's got 5 laps to do it now. So he's got to be almost a second a lap quicker than the car in front of him. I don't doubt that he can do it. I know Mitch is a very aggressive driver, but he's almost run that car out of ERS already. ER10 Motorsports down in 13th, takes the fastest lap of the race. Not really doing him any good, just denying a point to somebody else in the top 10 who can't get it now. Honestly, that's just kind of a little bit of a middle finger to the rest of the field, to be honest. Just kind of like, no, I'm going to take that so the rest of you can't have it. And Henchman now picks up a 3-second time penalty for running wide there off the exit of turn 11. Very unfortunate for him. That will likely give that 5th place position to the Williams of Sexy 9 unless he's got more penalties. I don't know the penalty situation. I haven't really been keeping up with it. Kind of been trying to focus on the racing here, folks. Out of the final corner, can the Williams get a run on the Haas? The Haas is on the dirt here. That's not going to be helping his case at all. Slows him down quite a bit. Williams got DRS on him. Is he going to launch a move up the inside? Not quite close enough for it. Back up at the front, Rhodes has not let White Meat get away, but he hasn't really closed him down either at all. So this is where the conundrum comes in, folks. Can he close down the gap and get a run on him in these last 3 laps to get the Red Bull a win? Or is McLaren going to walk off with another one here? Been a very good track over the years, as Henchman has now left the session. With just 4 laps left in the race, that is going to be disastrous for him. He's going to lose at least 1 spot, maybe more. Rock Lobster now retires from the session. Looks like he may have crashed. Yeah, he crashed at the exit of turn 2, entered to turn 3, hit the wall hard right there. Unfortunate for the Mercedes driver. He was not in a point scoring position, but the night has just gone from bad to worse. He started in 6th. And now he is out of this race. So currently the biggest mover of the night, TES Sainz up 8 positions from his starting spot of 18th tonight. The biggest loser, also Slingshot, up 8 spots from his starting position. Biggest loser, Marlon Conga, DNF, currently down in 15th from his starting spot of 5th. Down 10 spots. Back at the front, Rhodes has closed it down for a second there to about a half-second gap. It's now back out to where it was at 0.7, 0.8 seconds. We're just coming to 2 to go here. He is, in fact, closing down on the leader just a little bit. If he can keep that up and get closer to him, he may have a chance. Putting the pressure on the McLaren. We saw 1 close finish already in split 2. We saw another set of close finishes in the we saw at least 1 close finish, at least in the F2 league, in the second race in the wet, when all 3 of the front drivers finished within 3 seconds of each other. So this track has a very good habit of producing very close finishes. Are we about to see another one here tonight, folks? I think if Rhodes can get by him, that is going to be probably the move of the day. He's got a lap and a half left to do it. Can he pull this off? This is the closest battle we have on the track right now. Mitch is still 2 seconds back of Loki. I don't think he's going to have enough to do it to get 3rd spot off of the Alpha driver. This is the battle we are watching right now, folks. Can we see the McLaren get overtaken by the Red Bull, or is it going to hold station like it is? I think it all boils down to really whether or not White Meat makes a mistake. Down to a half second as they come into Sector 3. This is the closest they've been in a couple of laps now. Can Rhodes get closer? He's got 1 more lap to do it. Onto the front straightaway, DRS open. Gap comes out just a little bit in the favor of White Meat. But now Rhodes is going to have the slipstream and the DRS. He's going to close him down. Is he going to send it? No, he's around the outside. Very respectful driving. A lot of people would have seen move up the inside there. Only 4/10 in it now as they come down the hill. Now only 3/10 in it. Is he preparing for a look up to the infamous turn 4 that has claimed several drivers tonight? He's going to have one hell of a run to do it. Nothing happening here. Now they come through Sector 2. His only recourse is really to follow him through here, try not to lose any time, and maybe have a look at turn 12. That is his only chance at this point, I think. They come through the chicane, and White Meat pulls a little bit more time on him. Out to 6/10, it was down to 3. So White Meat definitely a little bit better through the back half of the track and the twisty stuff. And you see Rose run very wide. Coming down to turn 12, no chance of a look there into sector 3. I think he's just got to hold station and let whatever penalty situation we have sort itself out. Jumping back down to 3rd place, Loki picks up a 3-second time penalty. If Mitch doesn't have anything more than that, that is going to really hamper his chances, as Mitch is only a second back now. Coming to the line, White Meat wins the race. Rhodes is going to finish 2nd. So equal on penalties. No change of position. Coming down with Loki onto the front straightaway. He's going to finish 3rd. Mitch is going to finish 4th. No change of position there. Equal on penalties. And Sexy 9 holds on to 5th place. That's your top 5. White Meat, Rhodes, Loki, Mitch, Sexy 9. Slingshot finishes in 6th. Henchman disconnected. Will he hold on to that 6th place? He did finish 31 laps out of the 35. Like Me Not comes across in 9th place. PPR Butters is going to salvage that last crucial point for Alfa Romeo tonight. They did not have the night they were hoping for with him. His teammate finished on the podium, and he is swinging it around. He is happy about that 10th place, considering how things could have gone. So here we have your podium. We have White Meat followed by SF1 Rhodes and MRC Loki in 3rd place. McLaren, Red Bull, and Alfa Romeo all on the podium tonight here at the Hungarian. Maybe not the closest finish we've ever seen, but a close finish nonetheless here in Hungary. And that's not the button I meant to hit. As you see his picture of Ace Ventura. And we'll get the top 3 in here. Loki, the only one that netted a penalty. This is actually a very easy track to get penalties on, believe it or not. And fastest lap of the day does in fact go to ER10 Motorsports with an 1:18.942, but he will not get the extra point as he is outside of the top 10. And we are just waiting on SF1 Rhodes to hop in here, and then we will get the interviews underway. All right, there he is, boys. Go ahead and check that box. We will start with 3rd place and work our way up. Loki, man, you worked your way up to 3rd. Walk us through your night. We didn't really see a whole lot of you till the end there.
Yeah, my qualifying made a few mistakes, and yeah, the first lap was horrible. I just spun on myself, and and had to work my way back. And yeah, P3 as damage control worked out better than I thought in the end.
Was that help?
Yeah.
Was that helped at all by the numerous VSCs and safety cars that we had throughout the night?
The VSCs weren't helpful at all. They were annoying. The safety car helped me, definitely. Yeah, safety car was helpful. The VSCs was just annoying.
They usually are. Congratulations on that 3rd place, my man. Good to see you out again.
Thanks.
We'll see you next week, okay?
Yep.
All right, moving on to our 2nd place finisher tonight, SF1 Rhodes. Rhodes, we looked all set to see a Red Bull double podium there, and then your teammate netted himself a very just elementary penalty under the VSC by speeding and getting himself a drive-through. He recovered to 4th, put you up into 2nd place to fight with White Meat for the win. Did you have anything for him at the end there?
Clearly not. White Meat had he had a race beyond a race, and I'm gonna give a shout out to Loki. Every time I see him have a mistake, especially tonight when he had it right in front of me, I was like, okay, let's concentrate. He's behind me. And then at the end of the race, who's behind me? It's Loki again. So I don't know how you do it, mate. That's a good race. Keep your head up. It's a long season to go still.
All righty. Walk us through a bit of your night there, Rhodes.
I qualified far lower than I thought I would. I actually really do like Hungary, and I saw a lot of these guys had a lot of pace, so I decided that my best course of action was just to take it lap by lap and see what happened, because I know this track allows a lot of mistakes if you open up to them, if you lose your concentration. So I think ultimately a couple guys did lose a little bit of focus, and they caught themselves out, which helped me kind of work my way up. But I mean, purely it was luck more than anything tonight compared to my driver ability. It was just the mistakes from some of the other guys. Some of the other guys deserve to be up here far more than I did tonight, especially Loki, a little higher up, and as well as Mitch. I couldn't catch Mitch or White Meat tonight.
Well, it looked like towards the end there you might have had a little bit of something for him. You did start closing him down the last couple of laps, but ultimately having to settle for 2nd. Congratulations to both of you. White Meat letting us know there that his mic is not working. The McLaren driver having a very, very controlled race aside from a couple of things. Apparently his lead obviously got wiped out by the safety car and some screen lag and freezes. But aside from that, guys, great race overall. Saw some big movers, some big losers. Marlin spinning out, hitting the wall at turn 4, ending up 15th tonight. Any opinions on that? No? Oh, yeah, his night. Some folks' night went from bad to good. Some went from okay to and some went from great to good to terrible really quick. Usually the Hungaroring produces such things, and it did not disappoint tonight. Thank you from everybody here at BRL F1 for Tier 3. I'm Ferrari Nut 94. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.